Ready, gentlemen? On them up.
On today's show, we explore South Dakota's birdiest field, wild habitat created by this guy, the super rancher. We spend a day afield with a few folks who deserve a hunt more than most.
Well, it's a nice place to visit, but I'm glad I live here.
And find out what happens to all those sheds in a shop where antlers become art. We'll also visit a spot where hunters bring birds to hand the hard way.
Northern Beer and your Minnesota Select GMC dealers present.
There you go.
Woo! Due North Outdoors. Here are your guides, Bill Shirk and Laura Scher.
Hey, welcome to the show. Glad you tracked us down due north.
It's pheasant hunting season, and that means Guide Ron Scher is off to a place that has more birds than a hunter can dream up.
In South Dakota, this is a place known as the Warren Ranch. It's a family business managed by a father and son. The dad raises cows.
You know, you can see where they jump right up on.
But son Cody raises something different on his part of the ranch.
And wherever they can get at it, they'll just peck that stuff right off of there.
It's a two-legged crop wrapped in feathers instead of cowhide.
It just seems like it's the country's, biggest game bird. Everybody's always out after it.
Wild ringneck pheasants is Cody's favorite ranch crop, and not just a few.
Look at that, Ron. Look at that.
While Cody caters to hunters in the fall, his hunting business depends on his habitat skills on some 2,000 acres devoted to ringnecks.
Well, I think the primary thing is nesting cover, nesting and roosting cover. It's kind of been the craze, the food plot craze. Everybody's always into planting food plots and stuff like that. And if you can plant all the food plots you want, but if you don't have that nesting cover and roosting cover, they're not going to stay there anyway.
Which is what we're walking in now here.
This is a blend of, it's called a Wahi intermediate wheatgrass and alfalfa. And this is where they roost at night, regardless. You will never, hardly ever find a pheasant that roosts in a milo field or a cornfield or anything at night. They always fly out into this grass.
Mm-hmm. How big a nesting area block do you like to put out at a time?
Probably at least 100 acres, 80 to 100 acres. The bigger the better.
Mm-hmm.
Your predator pressure is going to be a lot less, just the bigger areas. That's where they do well. That's why if you have a fence line or something with some grass in it, that's going to be the first place a fox or a coyote or whatever is going to go down that fence line, and he's going to sniff out a nest.
Mm-hmm.
He'll find it if it's there. But you get a big, vast field of this stuff that's chin high, the odds of them finding that nest are a lot less than they would if it's, going down a fence line or whatever.
I hear you.
Speaking of fence lines, remember cowboy songs about tumbleweeds? Did you know they were singing about pheasant habitat?
This is kochia weed, and it's just a regular old tumbleweed,
Why is this doesn't look like a tumbleweed?
Well, what it is this is a thicker stand of it, and you get more plants but thinner stalks. If you get one big weed out in the middle of a field or something, that's going to be a big bush, and that's the tumbleweed. But
What do pheasants like about this?
the cover, I think. In the winter, they just got tunnels and stuff, and there's all kinds of seeds on it. The whole thing, the whole top of it is just full of seeds, and they eat all those seeds off of it. But it's a sturdy plant. I mean, it stays up. You can't knock it over.
How does Cody grow tumbleweed?
Disturb the ground.
Really?
And this stuff will come. Yeah, it will.
While ringnecks seldom face a food shortage, Cody takes no chances.
Corn is most important in the winter. When they need that energy, and that's when they'll really go for the corn. Like right now, even you see grasshoppers out in the grass and still around. They're still out there eating grasshoppers, but when it gets cold, they go for that corn and that milo. And I like to plant, corn along my wintering areas, because they'll come out and they'll pick that corn and go back in and kind of all day long. Wherever that good thick cover is.
Tree plantings or shelter belts also have a place in Cody's menu of pheasant habitat.
These are Russian olives here. Russian olives and cedar trees on this other side. And they love those thick Russian olive trees. Plum thickets, cedars. The little cedar tree this big will provide a lot of protection.
On an autumn day, Cody's menu for pheasants is complete. Roosting cover, nesting cover, food plots, tree belts, and reasonable weather. Add it all up and pheasant wings take to the air.
Look it up ahead of us, Ron. Look at that.
At Cody's place, they take to the air everywhere.
All these dogs are Birdy.
Up next, we tag along as Operation Upland hits full stride.
Due North Outdoors is brought to you by Joe's Sporting Goods, Strike Master, Aluma Trailers, and by Radco.
Okay, here's your chance to win the ultimate Aberdeen, South Dakota adventure. It's a cast and blast with me, Bill Shirk, the man about the woods. We're gonna do a little bit of fishing, we'll do a little bit of hunting, and you'll have a shot at, get this, $1 million pheasant in South Dakota. It's the ultimate Aberdeen cast and blast. Get your entry in at minnesotabound.com or duenorthoutdoors.tv, but do it now. The contest ends October 12th.
Due North Outdoors is presented by Northern Beer.
Up next, one of my favorite Due North adventures.
What's up? I'm Colin Carell. How you doing, boss? Good to see you.
Sometimes saying thanks is just the right thing to do.
This is our way to say thank you to you guys for serving our country. This means a lot to us to be able to do for you guys.
On a spring day at Minnesota's Horse and Hunt Club, members of Scott County's Pheasants Forever chapter put words into action.
It was tough getting it going, but after we did it, it just went off. When the word finally got out, my cell phone was just ringing off, actually vibrating off the hook. The response, I had over 200 calls. The name of the event is Operation Upland Pheasant Hunt.
Hey, nice shot.
Just to give them the opportunity to be able to get out and enjoy some of what they missed, maybe with some of their unit members. It's great.
This is a challenge, right?
Yep. Challenge. It's going to be a challenge?
It's going to be a challenge. With these two dogs, it's going to be a challenge.
Pheasants Forever members volunteer to guide the hunters.
And when something gets up, I would like to see minimum 12 feet.
The veterans, some just home from long assignments overseas in tough places like Afghanistan and Iraq, get to hunt.
Are we ready, gentlemen? Hunt them up. Come around. Come around.
We have guys from, I'd say, probably 39 different cities across the state of Minnesota.
Well, this kind of weather, you can't beat it.
A majority of them are National Guard, Army National Guard, and we have the Air Force, the Air Fighter Wings out of Duluth.
Yeah, all these dogs are Birdy.
Tim Mergens, a recently retired Minnesota Air National Guard member, considers himself a bit of an outdoor junkie.
I am, yep. I chase the ducks, chase the geese, chase the deer, chase the grouse, and the pheasants, the whole works.
He and his buddies received an invite to walk a field.
It feels good. It feels real good to get out, especially in the springtime, you know. I know there are guys out here that just got back and probably literally missed the hunting season. So this is a good thing for them. Really neat opportunity.
Tim, it's all you, buddy.
Nice, thanks. Thank you.
I honestly think it's very important for them to have an event like this because they live and breathe the hunting seasons, and even though they sign on to serve our country through the military, they're still missing out on that, just like they are everything that's going on at home with their family and friends.
Steve Hill certainly understands.
Oh yeah, I missed the hunting season when I was gone. Yeah, it's every year the routine is like it is up here, you know, either deer opener or pheasant opener. And I was gone from September all the way through to the following, and so it's a big deal to be able to get back on that horse again, so to speak, and get to shoot and get out here.
Rooster! Nice shot.
Good boy.
Come here.
Beautiful.
The sweetness of a day in the field, maybe more profound for these people. After all, they served our country in tough places most of us will never visit nor understand.
This country's got privileges that are beyond belief, and so it you get over there and get used to seeing what they have, and you think, well, it's a nice place to visit, but I'm glad I live here.
Even if active duty sometimes keeps these folks from their favorite Birdy, Minnesota season.
Get him! You know, the hunting season closes down so quick that sometimes the opportunities just don't present itself. You know, you're deployed or whatever the case may be, so it's good. It's real good.
Especially when the field gets busy.
Coming across, Tim! There we go.
Here you go, Rooster.
It's a great opportunity to get out and mix and mingle with some of the other guys from the other units and catch up on old acquaintances from your own unit too. A lot of fun.
Point.
Even if the shots don't always hit their intended mark.
We left a few out there for the next groups, though. We didn't want to take them all, you know, that's just the way we are.
It's basically doesn't come down to me or Horse and Hunt Club or Scott County Pheasants Forever. It's giving back, paying it forward. These guys have sacrificed their lives for us, for our freedoms to be able to hunt and go out in the field with our friends, and just that opportunity, and it's the right thing to do. So yeah, we're definitely going to do it again.
Coming up, we head west to the mountains of Idaho, where bird hunting goes to new heights, and find out how to better protect your gun dog in the field.
Due North Outdoors is brought to you by Otter Outdoors, Aquaview Underwater Cameras, and by Northland Tackle. Check your compass. It's time for the Due North Road Trip. Brought to you by McCarthy Buick GMC in Coon Rapids.
Right around the start of pheasant season, I get a little bit birdy dreaming of faraway places, specifically Idaho's Hell's Canyon. See, most of America's deepest canyon is public land open to public hunting. That means chukker hunting, one of the toughest hunts you'll ever tackle. Visitors run their boats up the Snake River and stop essentially anywhere along the river to hunt. Just be prepared to hike as much as 2,000 feet in elevation to get up to the spot where the birds hide. This hunt is all about being prepared. You'll need plenty of extra water for both you and the dogs. Also, have along food rations and an emergency kit just in case you get stuck up on the mountain. Tackle chukker hunting and the payoff can be huge. Not just bagging a rare wild bird, but also having shots at Idaho's other upland species, including Hungarian partridge, quail, and pheasants.
We all know that if we hunt in warm weather, we do run the risk of our dogs overheating. But we don't want to forget that in cold weather, there's some health risks also. If we have dogs that are well conditioned, have very small amount of body fat, and are in cold, wet, and windy conditions, their body temperature can drop. And at first, that's going to affect their performance as they're shivering and cold and can't really concentrate on what you want them to do. But if it's prolonged exposure that happens, it can actually start to shut down some of their organ systems and be a serious health risk.
You know, Arlie, I hunt German short hairs, and quite often early season to mid-season I hunt ducks with those dogs. And one of the precautions I take is neoprene vest. And if you buy the right size and trim them to fit the dog properly, and then precondition the dog to it, they really work well and they keep the dog warm in the bind.
Touch him. Well, I think they work great for that. I think they're also an added measure of protection when we're launching dogs into water where there may be sticks or rocks or other things sticking up. It really does help protect them. And we even use them in upland hunting on cold and wet, windy days to keep those really short-haired dogs warm and comfortable while they're in the field.
For more information on this subject and other topics, go to our website.
Today's Due North Insider is presented by Rapid Marine.
Okay, I bet you've been driving down the highway and seen a boat on a trailer stuck next to the road. Normally, there are a couple of simple reasons that happens. Let me tell you today how you can avoid that. Number one, on your trailer, always make sure you have a spare tire. More importantly, make sure it's a spare that fits the other wheels. Another hint for you, Check your lug nuts to make sure your wrench fits. Oftentimes, your trailer is going to be a different size from the truck. Another common problem, people never repack the bearings in their trailers and eventually they burn out. Just have them repacked once a season. It doesn't cost a lot of money and that'll keep you on the road. The last thing, every time you plug in your trailer and get ready to hit the road, take 10 seconds to walk around behind the boat and check and make sure your tail lights are working. I see it all the time. People racing down the highway and they don't have lights that work. Trust me, cops are going to stop you and they're going to give you a ticket. Do a little bit of basic trailer maintenance and you're going to have a great summer with the boat.
Coming up next, the art behind antler sheds.
What's neat about antlers is that it's like a snowflake. There isn't one that's the same. Every antler is different.
Check your compass. It's time for the Due North Classic.
Shed hunting has exploded in popularity the last couple of years, and we found a guy who turned that passion into an art.
Come on, Dave, let's go. Pretty easy to see them now in the woods if they're kind of light color.
Meet John, Barb, and 7-year-old David, the Wormerskirchen family, a family that every springtime hunts for deer antlers called sheds.
We're trying to find where the deer were yarded up during the wintertime. The deer usually drop the antlers about December, January. Depends on the stress of the winter. In Minnesota here, the horns are more light colored, so they can usually stick out pretty good if we do spot one.
Looking for antlers that even a buck deer has discarded might seem like a strange passion.
Oh my God.
Hi, found one?
I did.
Ah.
Woo!
All right. Nothing huge, but everyone's a trophy. Wow. And once you've found a few, then your eyes kind of pick them out. It's like hunting for morel mushrooms. You know, once you find them, then all of a sudden you start seeing more. So.
But in this hunting story, John sees more than a shed antler. In his hands, this piece of nature's art will be turned into a piece of his art.
Yeah, this is a small shop where I do all the antler art. What's neat about antlers is that it's like a snowflake. There isn't one that's the same. Every antler is different. I mean, every's got different curvatures. That's why it's fun to make stuff with.
What began as an antler hunting hobby 15 years ago
Let's see here.
has turned into a small family business called Sand Creek Antlers.
He enjoys building that stuff, and he's so good at it. You know, he doesn't make a lot of money at it. It's not a big money maker. I think he just enjoys working with the antlers.
Once found, antlers of all sizes and shapes become something else.
This is the moose chandelier. These are Canadian moose, and I just pin it together and then I run the wires all the way through the antler. A lot of guys say, how do you get that wire in the horn? And you know, a lot of people have to study, so it is a little bit of art how to drill the holes or drill the antlers and get it all in place.
It sounds easy enough, but don't be fooled. It took 20 hours to make the moose chandelier.
And I'll take my drill and try to feed halfway through. So once I have it all drilled, I take the wire and you got to try to feed it through. That's what takes the patience and time.
Drilling antlers isn't easy, and there's no such thing as bending antlers. Composed of bone like calcium, antlers are rock hard.
Antlers are really tough. You can drop them off the table and they can take a lot of abuse. I'll feed this in here and get the right fit. It's coming together.
Coming together as only antlers could in the eyes of an antler artist.
It sure works, and there's your lamp. It's nice to make something that you can look at for years to come.
David, stay over here.
It's not finding the sheds, it's just getting out and enjoying nature. That's what it's all about.
Well, that was pretty amazing.
Yeah, the way he crafts that art, it's pretty cool stuff.
Well, you know what time it is?
What?
time for us to get out of here.
Let's roll. Until next week, remember to introduce someone new to the great outdoors.